Hi, you guys. My name's Katie, and I have been wanting to make videos for a long time now. I have been thinking about what my channel would be about, and at first I thought I wanted it to be fashion or makeup or I don't know, something along those lines. But I've never, I tried once with wigs, and I don't know, it just fell off. So I had something happen in my life recently, and it has really inspired me. And I would like to share that with you. So, many of you don't know me yet, and some of you do, but some of you don't know what's been going on in my personal life. And one of those things is that I recently sold my prized possession, and that was my new car. She is 2 years now. Sounds like I'm talking about a child or a pet. And that's what it felt like when I made the decision to sell her. And I call it a her because my first car that I ever had was a Jeep Liberty, and I named her Jeepy. And as she was jumping to the dealership dying, the mechanics had told me that they had never seen a Jeep last that long with that many miles on it. And I knew it was because I named her and I would talk to her as if she was alive. And I really do feel like that's the reason why she lived so long. But she was jumping to the dealership, and despite what everyone told me about not buying a new vehicle, when they pulled Ruby up to the front for me to test drive, that's what I named her. Because she was that candy apple red, and my birthday's in July. My birthstone is Ruby. And we pulled her up there, and she was so sporty and so beautiful that I knew from the moment that she pulled up and I sat and took the test drive that that was the car for me. And that's exactly what happened. I called my boyfriend Tyler that day and purchased her. Was there at the dealership till 10 o'clock at night, and I drove home with Ruby. And that was about 2 years ago. So now, let's enter the present day. I do not have a car anymore. I've struggled for a long time with success and what that looks like. I have thought my whole life that I wanted to be wealthy, and I had this image of what that looked like. Growing up, my parents didn't have a lot of money, and I really looked forward to the day that I would have my own money and be able to buy all the things that I wanted. So I have filled my life, this void, which I didn't know what was missing. But every time that I would feel anxious or bored, I would shop. And that has added up over the years. I've racked up credit card debt, actually 11,000 to be exact. And it was like I thought I had everything under control. Things that I didn't want to look at, things that I would buy saying that that's the last time. And then I thought I had everything I needed until the next thing came about, and then it felt like this urge, like I needed it so badly. And so I would give in and I would purchase it, almost kind of like shoving it under the bed. Like, when you clean your house, just the living room, but then every other room is piled with clothes and things that haven't been put away, but no one can see them, so it looks like your house is perfect from the room that they're in. And I just feel like a lot of us are there right now, feeling like, well, we're trying to be perfect. The outwardly appearance seems that way. But if you really were to go within or look at our bank accounts or in our other rooms, you'd find that that's not the case. And that's where I've been for the past 2 years. I don't know what happened. I never got over $2,000 on my credit card, and all of a sudden, before I knew it, I was at 11 grand overall with all my different credit cards that I had. On top of that, I was $23,136 in debt on my brand new car. And I had already put 10 grand into her. So now, again, back to where I'm at today. I was about probably a week ago talking to somebody at my company that is very successful, and we were having a deep conversation about my career and what I want out of life. And you guys, if you don't know me, and maybe if you do, I will seriously look under rocks for my purpose in life. What is it that God has for me? There's always this feeling of something more, something that I could be doing that I'm not doing. And we were having one of those conversations, and I am a very open book, so it doesn't bother me to talk about things in my life. And so I was telling him how I feel like I go to work every day and I constantly want more money, higher position, just more fulfillment. And then all of my money is going to my credit cards. Things that I have bought that I don't actually own that I'm still paying on. And it gets so tiring going to work every day, and it feels like a slave at work, when your paycheck comes, it should be such a happy day, and it is, because all your bills are paid, but then all that extra money goes straight to your credit card. And then you don't have any money afterwards for anything fun, and then you still choose to do fun things, so then it just racks up the credit card debt even more. So I was telling him all this, and he had told me that I should read the book The Complete Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey. That him and his wife had taught it at their church, and that there's several churches that actually teach it. And so I went back to my desk feeling again, I had looked into the wrong rock, that this was just another deep conversation that I had without knowing what my purpose was and where to go from there, except that I should look up Dave Ramsey's book. So I did, and all I'm going to say about that is go read it for yourself. Listen to the audiobook. There's one on YouTube. It's 3.5 hours long, maybe 4 at the most. I listened to it within a day and a half. And there were several times that I just cried. He talks about well-dressed poverty. And I feel like that was speaking directly to me. On the outside, from my pictures on Instagram, from the car that I drive or drove, I looked wealthy. But if you looked at my bank account and you looked at my credit card debt, you'd see that my savings account was what he called anorexic. That my credit cards were overweight. And I'm still starving, wanting more. I'm just financially unfit. And I cried. I just looked out the window at my desk and cried. Because I knew that was me, and I knew I wanted to live life differently. Just thinking about how I got here and how I didn't want to be there anymore. I had to do something different. My car payment is $472 a month. I could afford it. But with my credit card debt that I had racked up and that big payment on top of Tyler having credit card debt and his car payment, we were just going to keep racking up more credit card debt because we had these dreams and places we wanted to explore, but not the money to do so. We're still living as if we did, which so many Americans do, and not many people talk about it. We're told that this is what it looks like to be wealthy, to drive a super nice car, have really nice clothes, live in a big mansion. And if you listen to The Millionaire Next Door, that is not. Very few millionaires actually live that way. But it's like, so that's what we see. That's what's pushed constantly. We're having people influence us. I had to get off Instagram. I started comparing myself constantly. Like, looking at these vacations people are going on, wondering, like, what I was doing wrong in my life, why I wasn't able to afford to go on to those places, looking at plane tickets, like, online shopping constantly, like, putting stuff in my cart, like, planning those things that I couldn't afford right at this moment. And I always told myself, like, just one day, Katie, it's just a matter of time, and you'll have those things. But what was I doing now, in my life now, that was going to get me closer to my dreams? Well, nothing. I was racking up more credit card debt. So, recently, and I know not everybody can do this, but I do have the advantage, I have a boyfriend that splits the bills with me and also has a reliable vehicle. So listening to Dave Ramsey took me a day and a half to listen to the audiobook. And the next day, I was looking online about how to sell my car. So I gathered all the information, called some different places to see what they would give me, and I went to CarMax. I prayed about it. I cried. Cried for every time I would look at my car up until I gave my keys up. And there was a moment I did. I would just like look back at my car the last like few days that I drove her to work, and I would cry, which is it feels so silly to say, but it's the truth. I felt like I made my car my idol, like that's what defined my success. That like I was the first person out of my immediate family that had ever purchased a brand new car, never drove a nice vehicle like I was in. By the way, she was a Mazda 3 2020 hatchback, candy apple red interior. Sounds so silly, like it sounds like I'm painting this picture of, to me, what I realize is an idol, which so many Americans have over their possessions. But it's not a living thing. It is a material item that can go away at any moment, or that we can have at any moment. And I got too attached. I wrapped my identity up in having that vehicle and what people thought of me and what I thought of myself. and that it felt going backwards, and like I failed having to get rid of it because I got myself in $11,000 worth of credit card debt. And I thought of every possible way that I could get out of it without selling my car. And the truth is, it would take a really long time and I wouldn't get any closer to my goals. Because I'd probably fall into the same pattern of still buying things that I couldn't afford. Just that like little toddler of like, I want it now. And giving in to myself. So I sold it. I was able to pay off the $23,100 that I owed, plus $3,000 extra that I got back. And instead of $11,000 in credit card debt, I'm now $7,000 in credit card debt. They're all on balance transfer cards. So I'm going to make my car payment and plus the money that I've been putting towards my credit cards, combine it all and put it all towards my credit card until it's paid off. And I will have it paid off by October 1st. And it feels really good. But the only way that's going to happen, you can plan all you want, but until you take that radical action that nobody else is willing to take, you will continue to live like other people live. Your dreams will get further and further away unless you're willing to take the action. So it's up to you. It's up to me. If I want to be out of debt, what am I going to do to get out of debt? If you're in debt, what are you going to do to get out of debt? If you want to travel, what is it going to take? If you hate your job, what are you going to do about it? All these things sound like really easy, and I know they're not. There is sacrifice. Dave Ramsey talks about this. It's not easy. It's not fun. Some moments can be. Some moments you're going to feel really motivated, like when you first listen to Dave Ramsey. And the moment that I was driving in my car, didn't feel motivated anymore. I felt like sobbing and listening to really sad songs about giving my car away. Somebody needs to write a country song about that. But, yeah, it's done now. And what I've realized is that I'm going to be just fine. I'm going to make it work. It's going to be a sacrifice, but we still have a car. I can still get around. And on the times when, like, Tyler needs to use his car and I can't, I'll figure it out. I'll Uber, I have friends, or I'm going to find other ways, like being in nature, going to work out, doing other things. You know, like, the sacrifice, it's going to be hard if my perception is that it is hard. But if I can look at it in a different light, it may just be one of the best adventures that I've gone on in my life. And so here I am. It's been almost a week and I'm doing just fine. I will keep you guys filled in about how it's going and how I'm sticking to paying my credit card off, and we'll go from there. But I thought I would share about where I'm at right now, hopefully motivate and inspire somebody else that if you're in the same situation, to just think of it maybe a little differently. Look up that audiobook on YouTube, The Complete Money Makeover. I hope I'm saying that right, but you'll find it. And just think about it. And if you have an urge and this video inspired you, I hope you take action. I pray you take action. We have to trust in God. And Jesus has said before, sell all your possessions and follow me. And so it's like, if you feel radical enough, to do those things, then go for them. But you don't have to do it all at once. Start with one thing and see what God does for you in your life. See what adventures He takes you on. See what He has planned for you. And if you've ever seen that image of the little girl holding on to the little bitty teddy bear and Jesus is knelt down and she's like squeezing it so tightly because she doesn't want to let it go. But behind Jesus' back, He's holding this giant teddy bear. It's what He has in store for her if she would just let go of her grip on what she thinks is best. And I feel like that's what I've done so far with my car. I just have this feeling that once I get out of debt, God is going to reveal His plan that He's had for me. The thing my purpose that I've been looking for so long. And I will be financially free, and there will be opportunities that God has in store for me that I couldn't get to because of all of my burdens. So my lasagna is ready, and it's getting dark. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and tune back in. Give this a thumbs up if you enjoyed, or like if you feel motivated, if you are going to do something to change your life. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.